On this episode of Screen Geeks, we're going to talk about whether Soul or Wonder Woman 84 won the Christmas holiday streaming wars. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Screen Geeks. My name is Jay, and with me, as always, is Ralph. This is a live show that talks about all things on screen. So, Ralph, how are you doing today?
Doing all right. I moved my room around, so things look a little bit different.
Yeah, there's no like shelf thing behind.
I am like my shelf would normally be right here.
Let's go full screen here so we can.
Yeah. So I
Yeah,
moved
look.
it. I moved
Holy,
around.
oh my! It's completely different.
Yeah, and so so the reason I was able to do this is because I got rid of 600 VHS tapes for my room.
Oh, so you are located right now where
Where
your
the
VHS
VHS tape
collection
was.
was. Yeah.
Yeah, and I had this this Flash Gordon figure on the table with the Star Wars VHS.
Mm-hmm.
That was the stuff that was on the side of me.
Yeah.
Now sitting there.
Yep.
Because you probably noticed like when it was like summertime and stuff, the light would come in from the window.
Yeah.
Well, we usually leave the windows open, and it's been really windy lately. And I have
Mm-hmm.
12 shelves on my desk, so the dust was just insane. I
Yeah.
had to dust all the time, and I hated it. So, um, moved everything around. Um, so getting rid of 600 VHS tapes is pretty much my entire VHS collection.
Yeah, that's crazy, especially because you're known to a great many of people as VHS dude. So can you
Yeah.
still be VHS dude without the VHS?
Well, I mean, I have a bag of VHS tapes. These are like kind of the sort of ones I don't want to let go.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm like, I think I'm just going to be done with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I donated half of my collection to Everything is Terrible.
Mm-hmm.
So if you guys know about Everything is Terrible, they now have all my non-movie VHSs.
Okay.
So all your self-help,
Mm-hmm.
religious, kids puppets, weird oddities. So they
Yep.
now have that.
Okay.
There is a video store in Santa Monica
Mm-hmm.
that's next door to the New Art Theater, and
Mm-hmm.
they got all my movies.
Okay.
And the dude who took them there was flat out like over the moon
Well,
with
sure.
the movies I sent him.
Yeah.
So they went to good homes. The problem is today I came up with an idea for VHS dude, and I only have a couple VHSs. So
I
but
can't say I didn't see this coming, but go ahead. Go.
well, yeah, but I think I mean I don't want it to die. I
Sure.
love it, but I mean, me and my wife are in a one bedroom apartment,
Mm-hmm.
and 600 VHS tapes is a lot. Um, and over the course of the last week, I've been taking them down to my car, and just my thighs are killing me. Two big, huge boxes. My back hurts. I'm sore. Um, and then so I came up with this idea, and
Uh-huh.
if I can pull this off,
Mm-hmm.
I can just order the VHSs I need
Mm-hmm.
one at a time.
Sure. Yeah.
Or I can go to Cinephile Video in Santa Monica or
Mm-hmm.
Everything is Terrible and get those. But it's
Yeah.
not gonna. I don't think it's gonna be an issue. It's kind of what it came from the VCR was supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I talked about that on this show. How
Mm-hmm.
originally it came from the like I am not a horror guy. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not into horror movies, and a
Yep.
lot of the VHS community is into horror.
Yep.
I like action movies
Mm-hmm.
and comedies.
Mm-hmm.
So you got your Svengulis, Elvira, um, Joe Bob Briggs. You have all these horror hosts,
Mm-hmm.
but where are the action hosts?
Yeah.
So it was always going to be the show was it came from the VCR with your host VHS dude.
Ah, okay.
So because of Vine, I got sidetracked into just posting clips on the internet instead of like creating a show. Um, so we'll see what happens.
All right.
I now have an idea about the show, and it may not involve the VHS dude, which is the pink background with the
Mm-hmm.
VHS head, but we'll see. We'll see. First, this pandemic has to end for this to happen, and secondly, I have to put in a couple of pretty big favors, but
Mm-hmm.
um, I think it's doable.
Well,
I
listen,
think
I'm
it's
sure you
doable.
could get Giacchino to do the score, get you a theme song. I'm sure. I mean,
You know what's funny is I already got, like, back when I was like really starting to set this thing up.
mm-hmm,
There's a duo, a group that does synth scores,
mm-hmm,
and they're called Le Matos,
mm-hmm.
Le space Matos.
Okay.
If you've seen the movie Turbo Kid or Summer of '84, they just did a web series called Exode. They do
Mm-hmm,
really cool synth stuff,
mm-hmm.
and if you get a chance, I highly recommend checking them out. Um, have followed VHS dude since the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
and so I reached out to him. I said, "Hey, I really want to do the show. If I ever do it, will you do the theme?" And they're just like,
Yeah.
"Absolutely. Just let us know when." So Chiquino's out. But no, I really think it's something I've always wanted to do since I was a kid. I grew up in Downey, California,
Mm-hmm,
and we had a TV tower in the middle of town, and we
mm-hmm.
had public access TV, and
Yep.
I loved public access TV,
Mm-hmm,
and I want to do a public access TV show showing royalty free, copyright free action movies
mm-hmm.
from my VHS collection, which now will be stuff I get one at a time off of eBay. So, but I want to do it like I want to do it live in
Mm-hmm.
front of like a small audience, have it be
Yeah.
like a sort of like. Did you get Wally George in San Diego growing up?
I don't think so. No.
He's like the white haired dude who's conservative and
Mm-hmm.
USA all the way. Anyway, something like that, like a real
Yeah.
rowdy crowd
Mm-hmm.
watching a really bad movie, me hosting it and posting it on youtube.com/VHS dude.
Hey, listen. I think it's a
The,
great idea.
yeah, so it's something I have to prep for, but if I can find someone to help me out and produce it, I might have someone in mind, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Well, listen, if you need an associate
That was the
producer,
plan in
I'll be there.
2013. That was the
Mm-hmm.
plan in 2013, and it's now 2021. I should probably get going on it.
Get it.
So, yeah, we'll see.
Like, get on your projects, Ralph. I have known you for almost 2 decades, the better part of 2 decades, and you have a treasure trove of
I
ideas,
know. I know. I
and
currently I,
you need to land them.
I
This
know.
one you doing?
I'm currently prepping a script. I'm really excited about it.
I love your scripts.
Yeah.
I've read a few. They're really good.
I should try to sell them.
Not a bad idea. Not a bad idea.
I spend all the time writing it. Might as well do something with it.
Yeah, exactly. It's not a bad idea. All right. So dry January still going on for me. So still Pellegrino for the live shows. What's that?
I have
Nothing.
I'm
Nothing.
hoping there's like a drop of water. There's not even a drop.
Oh,
There's a drop.
okay, I heard it. I heard a little water in there.
Yeah.
But I thought, and let's check the chat here. We got Jay Griffiths. He's in the house. PD Dubs is here. Good to see. Well, PD Dubs changed his picture mid-show, so there it is. That's the one I've known for a while for PD Dubs. And then PD Dubs says, "Awesome idea to your VHS dude idea, but a new picture with some McFarlane, Spawn, and DC figures there. So that's pretty cool."
Jay Griffiths, I believe, is now subscribed to
I believe
my Casino Skunk page,
he
my YouTube page,
is, and a big
very
fan.
active.
Yeah.
Very positive response from Jay, so I appreciate it.
Yes, Jay's good people. Great name. So all the Jays I know are pretty good people. Gold Digger. Whoa, both of your positions are different than before. Going to have to get used to this. Mine is essentially the same, I think. Relatively.
Yeah, I think it's the close-up looks different. You added a Casey Jones mask. I don't remember.
That was a little while ago. That was like December. I put that there.
We haven't been on since early December.
No, we were on. We did the Disney thing. No, we talked about the finale of Mandalorian.
Oh, that's right. That was our 20th episode.
20th episode of Screen Geeks.
Man.
Now we're at 21. I'm glad you knew it was the 20th because I had lost track, and now I'm like, okay, now I can get back to numbering these.
I only found out after the fact when I posted it to my Patreon page, which is only $1. Oh,
sure.
Can I talk about my Patreon page real quick?
Oh, sure, absolutely.
No, okay. So the other day, it was the first Monday after the Kaiju Pod ended, and I was like, just sitting here, and I'm like, I want a podcast. I want to do something. So I threw it out on social media. I said, hey, listen, does anybody want to podcast with me right now? Like, right this second. And so the first person to reach out to me was Taylor Morden. Now, Taylor Morden has been my friend on Facebook for years, since the days of the Dharmalars. And he's probably a follower of yours, a friend of yours on Facebook. So I'm like, yeah, sure. Taylor, here's my Skype. I send him a DM. Here's my Skype. I'll be there in like 5 minutes, and we could just get started and talk about whatever you want. So I would go to his page on Facebook, and his banner is for the movie that just came out on iTunes, The Last Blockbuster, which is a movie about the last surviving blockbuster in Bend, Oregon. And he is the director of that film. And not only did I not know that he directed that film that I was fully aware of, but he did not know that I was VHS Dude and has known me for years, known VHS Dude for years. It was the weirdest thing. Literally anybody could have responded to that.
I saw your post. I saw it like an hour too late. I was working anyway, so I couldn't do it. But I was like, oh, I wonder who said yes. And I was like, okay, cool. And then I saw the post, like, oh, that guy? That's awesome.
Right? So I'm letting everybody know in the comments. Follow at Casino Skunk. That's my sort of production Twitter. And the next time you see me mention an impromptu interview, if you're the first to jump on and you have a Skype connection and a microphone, you are my guest right then and there. So keep an eye out, set it to notifications, I guess. But it's literally not a plug, but if you want to be on the show, that's how I'm doing it. And I'll probably do that once a month. And what's great about this is I'm making these episodes, these impromptu interviews, free for everybody. So
generous.
So check it out.
Plus, but your Patreon is only $1 a month, so it's not that bad either.
Right.
Well, that's really cool. That's really neat.
Weird happenstance.
What?
Just a weird
right? Yeah.
Happenstance.
Well, it's funny about your VHS Dude persona, because I think I've told you before, I've had friends that make that connection. It's like, you know VHS Dude? And I was like, yeah, it's my buddy Ralph. I've known him forever.
Yeah.
He's like, that's so cool. I was like, cool.
I just marketed it right.
Yeah, I know.
It's fine. It's just, yeah. If you, it's funny because if you have skills in like Photoshop and you have like social media skills where you use hashtags correctly or you just post regularly, don't do typos and make things look kind of nice and uniform and cool. Like people think I'm a bunch of guys doing this stuff. I'm like, no, I'm doing this out of my house and doing like 3 podcasts and of course Screen Geeks. And I'm like, I'm just a guy. It's hard to do, but it's doable. Yeah, I'm wearing my Vestron Video shirt. I got my Grimy Ghost hat. I'm all VHS'd out today. It's really nice not having that many VHS tapes in your room. It's like freeing.
Yeah, I mean, I have my little stack right here, but I pretty much keep it to that. I'm not a big collector. It's just if I find one, I add it. But anywho, all right, let's get to the topic of this video, because I, for one, was shocked because in my mind I was like, okay, of course Ralph has watched Soul and Wonder Woman 84. I saw you post your podcast about Wonder Woman 84. And I was like, cool, we'll talk about that. That's a good thing to talk about. I watched both of them. I want to talk about them. They were on a screen. It's a big deal to theater level releases premiering on streaming. Big deal. Could only happen during the craziness of this pandemic. And so we kind of usually on Thursdays afternoons, like, what are we going to do? And I was like, yeah, why don't we do this? And then you're like, I haven't seen Soul. F Pixar. I hate them. I'll never see this movie. And
I don't
that's
know if
that.
I don't know if I said those words, but I was definitely that harsh. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I have a big, big, big issue with Pixar, and it drives me bonkers.
Well, okay. So I was gonna and you mentioned this this tweet thing, and I'm generally not on Twitter, so I thought I hadn't seen it. But you must have complained about this
It's ongoing. I even
before.
posted one today. This is
Okay,
an ongoing thing.
because I was like, oh, that's right. I know one of the things that Ralph hates about Pixar films, um,
It's the
which
main
I
one.
don't agree with. But I'm gonna share some of your tweets here. Uh,
And listen, I love being positive. I feel like
you
fandom
are.
is full of toxicity, and I love being positive. If it's something I don't like to talk about it. If I do like something, I don't like to put something else down.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I like just like putting stuff up on a pedestal instead of kicking other things down. This, I'm, yeah, this is probably the most negative I can get
I
about
know, and
fandom.
that's what again. You just said all the things that kind of blew my mind about this because you are an incredibly positive person and very inclusive, and it's
Right.
everything has its place, but but yeah, just
When did this thread start?
so we finally watched Into the Spider-Verse, and it just reminded me how tired I am of Pixar films still looking like they're using Render Man to design people, use computers to make art. You have a campus full of artists. Push the boundaries of design.
Yes,
June 9th,
that movie is
2019.
fantastic.
Oh, it is. It's
Yeah.
one of the best animated movies, one of the best comic book movies.
I
Amazing.
now a little maybe about a year and a half ago, I visited Pixar with friend of the show, Mark Vibert. He
Mm-hmm.
invited me there. I drove up for the day, did the tour of the studio. You can listen to that on my Patreon. Me and Mark discussed that.
Mm-hmm.
It is an amazing place, and everybody in there is super talented.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone at Pixar is talented. They
Mm-hmm.
just have issues with their films. And it's this Render Man. So since I think The Incredibles, they started using a thing called Render Man, which is how they make their people.
I thought they've always used Render Man. I thought that was like their
They
thing.
maybe,
Okay.
but here, look at. I'm gonna say, Incredibles was the first one to really sort of mess with Render Man to
Uh-huh.
change the shapes of people,
Okay.
and they're able to like do mass crowds and make people with long faces, short faces,
Mm-hmm.
wide heads, big bodies, little bodies.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Are we gonna go through this whole thread?
Well, I like
Yeah,
the
go for
design.
it. And I like it. Go for it. I
So,
stand by everything.
so again, pretty inflammatory statement here.
Yeah.
Some of the most inflammatory things I've seen on Twitter, frankly.
22 likes. That
Uh, and then you were saying, I like the design work in Pixar's Inside. The emotion characters had a sort of 2D design element to them, especially fear. The humans look the same as they do in the first Toy Story. Sure, they're more advanced textures in FX, but design-wise, the same. Blue
Okay,
Sky did a
can I
cool.
mention something?
Sure, go
Can
ahead.
I mention something? This is exactly what I'm talking about. Is there's a sequence in Inside Out where they're running through this white void and they start deconstructing. Do you
Yeah.
remember that scene?
Yeah.
Where they turn into abstract shapes.
Yep.
That's art. That's
Mm-hmm.
taking animation to its simplest form
Mm-hmm.
and breaking down these characters into simple shapes and still get expression and emotion out of like
Mm-hmm.
two shapes, and of course
Mm-hmm.
the voice acting.
Yeah.
So like stuff like that I want to see more of,
Mm-hmm.
instead of just people looking realistic and environments looking realistic. I think it was around the time I watched Brave where I started
Mm-hmm.
falling off the Pixar bandwagon.
Uh, I did really like the Peanuts movie as well. It's a lot of fun.
And I love the way that there's in this link that you can't click. There's a whole thing on how they were able to design them to fit Schultz's original character
Mm-hmm.
designs without making them actually 3D, but to
Yep.
keep his sort of 2D look to it. It's
Absolutely.
amazing.
Yeah, it's great.
It's a way to use the computers to make very specific art choices. Leica is stop motion, but just the
It,
character designs and stuff are so interesting.
so, but this is these are all great thoughts. Long thread here, but
I just posted that one today. The
uh,
Studio Ghibli one, up one. That's Mark's post. There we go. This trailer is awesome, by the way.
but here's the thing. This
Uh,
is where and let me close this out here. Okay, so I get it, but there is something to like it. Do they feel like that certain look to the humans is part of the Pixar style, so to speak? Because, and I think Ryan Moore says it here. I think render man is used for processing rendering, not design. Like I do think design is like it's part of that universe, and there is this kind of theory that it's all kind of an interconnected universe. Pixar movies.
I
So
could be wrong. I could be wrong, but in the Incredibles, I keep saying Invincible, Incredibles documentary on the DVD, they do talk about the humans. And I
mhm,
want to say, I don't know if they are called Render Man, but I know that they use Render Man to be able to create crowds and also um, change body shapes
mhm,
automatically using one person that was a template.
mhm,
Like Bob's boss is made out of the same template that Bob is made out of.
mhm.
They're just able to squash and do
Well,
that stuff.
like Andy, like all the humans in the first story, so they didn't have enough processing power to
Right.
like they're all kind of a variation of Andy. They just
Yeah.
took Andy and then repurposed
Right.
all the different kids, the
And
sister, the little
I feel
sister,
like
the mom.
even in like Onward, which I thought was okay, um, I felt like the characters, even though they're all these fantastic creatures,
Mhm.
still look like Pixar people, and I'm tired of Pixar people. I'm so tired of Pixar people.
John Mueller says the house style, I think they call it.
Yeah. But I feel like I just want them to push themselves artistically. Like if you look at the animation and characters in Sleeping Beauty or in Snow
Mhm,
White, as
mhm,
opposed to the next movie Pinocchio, like
mhm.
there's a change in art style, and then you have Fantasia, which is the third one. That's completely a different
Yeah.
art style. I'd love to see these directors sort of start taking in art styles like the way that Alice in Wonderland's based on Mary Blair, and I
Mhm,
don't remember his name, but Sleeping Beauty was based off a certain designer, and it has a completely different look and feel, but
mhm.
it pushed the medium, and I like the pushing of the medium, and I feel like other companies, especially in Into the Spider-Verse, really pushed the medium in computer animation, where they did a mix of 2D animation and 3D animation. There's anime
Mhm.
style. There's all kinds of, but it's very, very artistically done. Look
Yeah.
at the Kingpin in Into the Spider Verse.
Yeah.
He's nuts looking,
Yeah.
but it's a perfect like artistic representation of what you want. This
Mhm.
an immovable object, this
Yeah.
big giant brick wall of a person,
Yeah.
and I like that they push that artistically.
Mhm.
And it feels like that the artist working on the film had the sort of the okay to express themselves artistically,
Mhm.
and I don't feel like Pixar does that anymore. They should be like the high watermark. And I've found myself ever since the movie Brave, I think,
Mhm.
my love of Pixar started going down. Whereas on the other side, you have Tangled with Disney,
Mhm.
and that started going up.
Mhm.
Tangled kind of looked like a Disney 2D animated movie,
Mhm.
but in 3D.
Yeah.
And with the exception of Frozen, which I did not like, I think Disney's really up their game. I love
Mhm.
Big Hero 6.
Yep. Oh,
The Wreck It
beautiful.
Ralph, the Wreck It Ralph films. I think Moana was great.
Mhm.
Um, Zootopia is great. Like I
Mhm.
just like that.
It's
I feel
fantastic.
like Disney's kind of reestablishing themselves as sort of the leader of animation, and I just wish Pixar would uh, just. You got so many good artists.
Mhm.
I haven't seen Soul, and I'm hoping from what I see in the trailer, I know that there's new hair simulations and car
Uh-huh.
simulations, and I know I haven't seen much of the afterlife stuff,
Mhm.
but I feel like it's gonna make me mad. It's
Really?
gonna make
So
me mad.
I don't know. If yeah, it probably will. And Ryan Moore says Edvin Earl.
Hmm.
Edvin
Yeah,
Earl. Led design on Sleeping Beauty. I love the Sleeping Beauty. That's my if I had to pick my
yeah,
favorite looking Disney
yeah.
animated film, it's that one. It's just beautiful.
It's a
Mid-century modern, just
it's
beautiful.
definitely a style.
Yeah.
Like I also liked like the art direction in Hercules.
Yes. Yeah. I was
Everything
going to
had a
mention Hercules.
flat. Everything looked like a flat, like side of the pottery drawing,
Yep.
even where the explosions had the sort of pottery swirls.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I, I just, I, I grew up loving animation. Um, I took like a semester or two of animation, and I need to get around to showing that video on my Patreon page of the animation I've done. Um, that's great. I can't even imagine right now watching that at Pan and Scan.
Yeah. Look how clean that. Look how clean that sticker is. Though. That's a good.
Yeah,
It's a good copy.
but Pan and
But
Scan,
yeah.
that movie needs to be viewed in
Oh,
70
absolutely.
millimeter.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But that's how they show it in Disney Plus. So.
yeah. Oh, it's amazing. I think, but that's kind of what I want. I feel like the
So what?
storytelling's good. The storytelling's good. I just wish it would be pushed a little more artistically. Like there was a short film called Paperman.
Mm-hmm.
I thought had a really cool sort of 3D, 2D animated quality to it, and the actual film had like the texture of paper. Um,
And
yeah,
I
see the
think
Spark
Scott, you
shorts,
call it the Spark Shorts have pushed boundaries more on their animation style. And I
right?
agree.
Right.
Um,
I love see I appreciate animation on an artistic level, and I wish I could see more of that out of Pixar.
mhm.
We'll watch Soul. I'm not gonna not watch Soul. I think the only Pixar movies I haven't seen are The Good Dinosaur, Cars 2 and 3, and then Soul. So
I have
chances
not
are I'll watch
seen
it.
Good Dinosaur either. I have seen the Cars movies because my kids love Cars. Cars 2 is an abomination. It's terrible. I
Yeah.
don't. It's the only Pixar movie that if my kids want to watch it, I don't because it's so bad. Cars 3 isn't that bad. It's actually decent for a Cars movie.
Right. And I like the original Cars.
Yeah, so do I. So do I. And that's what the 3 kind of comes back to maybe some of the charms of 1 and making it a little more progressive, a little more modern. But for me, I loved Soul. And I will agree that the past 10 years of Pixar have been lackluster.
With
Wh-
I'll make one exception.
Go ahead.
Coco. I think Coco's phenomenal.
Coco is
I love
Coco,
Coco.
Coco and Inside Out. Um,
Inside Out's up there.
yeah. So there have been a few really strong ones, but I think they've and it's I don't know. It's hard to keep up that creative output at a high
Right.
level for as
Right.
long as they have. So they still hit the mark sometimes. Even a bad Pixar movie is still a good movie or good story. Like Onward, I still liked. But they had a lot of sequels, and they all kind of had lessening kind of strength. Oh wow, Cars 3 is the best in the series. Put that on the poster. I wouldn't go
Okay.
that far, Ryan. I enjoyed it. Like I actually enjoyed the movie. It actually felt like a proper sequel to Cars 1, where Cars 2 was just like it was the Mater
What if?
movie. It was the Mater movie is what it was. It just followed Mater the whole time and like this the spy who knew too little or whatever. Like that's just it was so bad. But anyway, John Mueller says no love for the Good Dinosaur. I haven't seen the Good
Yeah, I
Dinosaur.
haven't seen it.
Uh,
I know nothing about it.
Coco was absolutely heartbreaking. It was beautiful. Like I cry. I mean,
Yeah.
I cry pretty easy, but the whole when he does the song at the end. Uh,
Yeah, because I love that the song is this big, lavish sort of hit. It was the biggest hit ever.
mhm,
Uh, but then you hear the exact same song played at the end by the guy who
mhm.
wrote it, and it takes on a whole different meaning. And
Yep.
it's not supposed to be this lavish, like great, grand hit.
Mhm.
It's supposed to be this,
This love song to his
song.
daughter
Yeah,
to be like, remember me when I'm gone, like when I'm not
so
around.
good.
So yeah, absolutely. That so okay, Soul. I really dug it. I've kind of seen people really loved it, people kind of neutral. I don't think anybody's hated it. But I really, really enjoyed it. I think for like existential thinkers or existentialists or just like the whole question of why, who we are, all that kind of stuff. I thought it did a pretty good job kind of threading that needle And I thought it was fun, and I thought it had a really satisfying answer for why or the purpose of life. And no one answer will answer that for everybody, but I thought it was a really moving way they kind of paid that off. Also, having Jamie Foxx and focusing on stories for people of color, I thought was really important as well.
Mm-hmm.
And representation on screen, I thought was incredibly important. And I thought it was a fun story, a lot of laughs. Like my kids sat through the whole thing and didn't get distracted at home, no less. Like we watched it at home. It's not like we were in a theater. They sat and watched the whole movie. To me, my barometer is it a good Pixar movie? It is, if tears are falling down my face, and tears did fall down my face for Soul. So it gets the geek dad stamp of approval for a Pixar movie, because it kind of hit all the right points for me. It was fun, kids could dig it, bigger meaning beyond that. A pretty heavy kind of adult theme kind of story of like what happens when you die, like what's the purpose of life, all those kinds of things that luckily kids just like goes right over their head. But I think for the grown-ups it hits pretty good. But I really dug it. I really dug it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna not watch it. I'll watch it for sure. I just haven't yet.
Let's go to the chat. A lot of chatting going on right now. I've heard they didn't stick the landing in Soul, which disappointed me. I thought they stuck the landing, but that's just me. Colleen has one complaint about Soul, or counterpoint. Go ahead and drop it, Colleen. Dude, you cried at, my wife also says, dude, you cried at everything that isn't a good scale. I don't cry at everything. I cry when they do it right. But thanks. All Music Fan is doing fine. That is good. All Music Fan, always good to hear the recovery is going well for you. Jace Griffith says, wife just throwing it all out there. I will admit I am an easy crier, but I mean, I also got a little misty eyed at different parts of Wonder Woman 84 too, so maybe I do cry at everything. But and I know you hated Wonder Woman 84, Ralph, so we'll get to that next. But anyway, so
I watched Soul.
I really dug it. But I could see how it's really hard to stick a landing on something, a concept like that. But I thought they did. Okay, you cried E.T. E.T. You cry at the end of E.T.
Yeah,
right?
You're supposed to.
Yeah. How do you not cry at the end of E.T.?
So she means Entertainment Tonight.
I'm a big Sean Tesh fan. Okay. But yeah, E.T. Like, okay, I cry when he dies, and then I cry at the end. That's where I cry at E.T. Nothing wrong with that. Dogs and family things. Soldiers coming home, finding family you lost. Yeah, I cried everything. It's not that. Hey, well, this is Sledge Restaurant, and I can be here for a little while. Hey, James, just in the house. Good to see you. Old school Shinobi. There we go. Hello. Sorry, Tim Heidegger was doing a live music stream and lost track of time. That's okay. That's all right. Old school.
That's fine.
It's good to have.
I just got his album. I just got his LP.
Oh, nice.
I know this is Screen Geeks.
Yeah.
But can I mention albums?
Sure.
Remember when I said I got that Mandalorian box set and they were
like,
oh my God, $200.
Uh-huh.
Holy shit. I got the Godzilla box set.
Oh, is it here? Oh, no, it's not here. I thought you had it to show.
No, I don't. Oh, no. I ordered it.
How much did it cost?
$450. Dude, listen. 15 movies, 18 discs, all colored vinyl. Dude, this has nothing to do with Screen Geeks, but if you're a Godzilla fan, barely any of this music was ever released. Like, this is the first time this stuff is being released. Dude, you got to see this box. Do you want to show it?
All right, is it a
go to waxworkrecords.com.
Waxwork Records. All right, here, I will share the screen so we find this together, people.
They have a nice big banner. They have a
Waxwork. Oh, there we go. All right, let's see it. Whoa.
Click on that banner. Let's scroll through some images because this is like, you gotta look at this set, dude. Oh yeah, join their newsletter.
Oh, they need to settle down. Hold on.
Dude, so 18 discs, I was estimating it was going to be like $600. So this thing has that's the inner box that comes out of the box. It has a magnetic flap that comes down and displays all the album artwork.
Mm-hmm.
You can just start going through these pictures. Look at the art on the front and back are unique, and the color of the vinyl matches the tone of the artwork and the movie. Dude, it's so freaking gnarly. Like, this is the greatest thing ever. Apparently it comes in March, but Waxwork is usually good about sort of padding their estimations. They usually tend to come a lot sooner. But I mean, just look at the
that's
art
cool.
with
I love that.
Just, oh my god. And then the Hedora one, which is coming up in a little bit, looks like sludge. The record
I love King
like
Ghidorah is the gold. Oh, look at that.
Yeah, you want one now, huh?
Nah, I think about $450 on records.
But it's 18 records. It's a lot of records.
It is a lot. So 18. Let's see. Have you already done the math?
Well, I did the math. I think should have been like, they sell them for around 27.
25 a record.
Yeah. So it's usually around 27 to 30 a record from their site. And some of these are double records too. So
it's not that much of a saving.
Yeah. But I mean, dude, look at this stuff. This is all coming in one box. Oh my God. Look at that Hedora. Look at that Hedora record.
Oh, dang.
It looks like barf. So
it's a cool set. The 450, does the lovely Stevie know about this one?
She does.
Okay, well,
it is my birthday present.
Very nice, very nice. Colleen says no, I can't get it. So there you go, folks.
It's I mean, a score dude who's also a Godzilla dude.
And yeah, listen. This
is the first time they're releasing these soundtracks ever.
I support your purchase. You know, listen. Who am I to talk? I support your purchase.
I know.
I just
got rid of 600 VHS tapes, so I'll have a place to put it.
Exactly. There you go. Old School Shimmy says, don't go any further, Jay. The boss has spoken. It's not bad when you put it like that. Definitely lead with. Yeah, exactly. Say it's only $25 a record and you get 18 records.
Right. No.
That's so perfect. All right.
By the way, can I just say?
Yeah.
No tax-free shipping.
Ooh.
So
there you go.
Yeah. And it comes with a slip mat for your record and apparently something else, but they haven't said what yet. It's a deal.
Old School Shinobi just saw your Vestron video t-shirt.
Yeah. I have a couple of t-shirts with VHS logos on. Yeah.
All right.
Are we really going to do this?
1984.
Okay.
Now, I saw your post for your podcast and talking about a lot of things to say about it. Mm-hmm. And then Colleen also clued me in that you and what?
Not me. I mean, I guess I did jump in. Stevie, my wife, did a hardcore respond to Colleen's tweet about Wonder Woman 84. Stevie never goes and talks about movies and stuff, and she rarely replies to people on that kind of stuff. But
yeah,
she had an opinion, and I'm like, ooh, this is fun. So I jumped in a little bit. I just jumped in a little bit.
All right. So I talked about Soul. I saw Soul. So let me preface my thoughts with Wonder Woman 84. Is it flawed? Yes. Was it kind of a hokey? Talk about not sticking the landing. It was kind of a hokey premise and ending. But I enjoy the characters, and I enjoyed spending time with them, and I love the chemistry of Steve and Gal or Chris Pine and Gal Gadot.
Yeah.
and their chemistry's still there. And that's why I think it's a shame they killed him off in the first one. Just like let him live and just kind of do the Roaring Twenties or
He'd
something.
be old. Yeah.
I was saying just keep the series in the teens and 20s. I don't know. And you didn't have to be in the 80s. And I thought while it was a kind of a hammy kind of role, I thought I'm thinking on his name now.
Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, I thought he had fun with it.
Right.
And I thought the score was atrocious.
Thank you.
Like in the first that opening scene, I was like,
what was the chanting?
What? Yeah.
It was like tribal chanting. I'm like, no, these are like Greek god warriors. This is trumpets. This is not chanting. This isn't the Lion King, bro.
It was absurd. And it didn't even make any sense. I was like, what is this? And I was like, oh, music by Hans Zimmer. I was like, okay. But it was like, Hans Zimmer, I don't hate as you do, but this was the worst Hans Zimmer I've ever heard. Like, it was garbage. Like, whoever he subbed this one out to did the worst Hans Zimmer impersonation ever, because it was just terrible.
I think I have a small thread on my personal account about the score. Here's something this is like film score 101.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you have a character with a built-in theme, like a James Bond, for instance. Wonder Woman has a built-in theme.
Yep.
When you start off an action scene, you build up the tension and build up the suspense.
Yep.
And then at the height of the action, when that character does the thing, the punch theme. The car chase in the middle in Egypt starts with the Wonder Woman theme. Now you have nowhere to go but down.
Yeah.
And it drove me up the wall. I talked to a friend about it, and he's like, yeah, you don't do that. And
because it loses all its impact. Like you're right. Like it led with that tank car chase theme. And I didn't even like it didn't even register to me that it was happening because of its placement, you know? And again, I really dig the Wonder Woman theme. It's a good kind of like rock and roll.
It's all right. Yeah.
Guitar kind of.
It gets you pumped up.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's a fun. Go ahead.
When I did my episode for Wonder Woman, I put the Wonder Woman theme at the beginning, but I used Danny Elfman's version from Justice League.
Nice.
Just because I'm not going to put that guy in my podcast.
But yeah, so again, so I think there's a lot you can kind of pick apart with it. But overall, I enjoyed it. Like, it wasn't a bad time. If I was at the theaters, I would have been fine.
There was a ton that I liked about it. There was a lot I didn't like about it.
Yeah.
I think one of the major faults in the film, and this is huge, if you're going to set it in 1984, put some pop music in your movie.
Good.
It
good
is
point.
insane how there's only one song from the 80s in the whole movie. It's when she goes to the gala.
Yep.
And it's a Frankie Goes to Hollywood song.
Yep.
And I'm like, you've got to be kidding. Like, why is this even in 84? And I think the only reason it's set in 84 is because they wanted to make the correlation between they wanted to use like Reagan's Star Wars platform, like the not Star Wars the movies, Star Wars the satellite deal. Dude, I was like, what, 7 or 8? I don't know what that was.
But even still, like, why? Yeah, to me, it was like it just, there's a lot of just why, like, why do this? Like, to me, I was just like, just have it be in the 20s. Don't kill Steve Trevor, and then just have them go on adventures or something.
And
if
you're gonna bring Steve Trevor back with the Wishing Stone, which I was totally fine with the Wishing
Mm-hmm.
Stone.
Yeah.
And the concept of Pedro Pascal's one wish, for Maxwell Lord's one wish to be, I want to be the stone, I think is a cool concept. Just bring Steve back. Don't have him like take over
another dude,
an innocent dude. Like, dude, come on, man. Like,
problematic to say the least.
I heard a good one.
Okay.
It might not be appropriate, but imagine that dude. You're that dude,
Mm-hmm.
and you get to sleep with Wonder Woman without even knowing it happened.
It's well, they kind of left it off at the end that maybe.
It's weird, dude. It's weird.
Uh,
I liked Kristen Wiig a lot. I liked Pedro
yeah.
Pascal. I
Mm-hmm.
liked everybody. It just was there was too many ideas that weren't fleshed out.
Mm-hmm.
I think Cheetah should have stopped at her White House
Agreed.
phase, where she had
Agreed.
the studded jacket and the
Mm-hmm.
cheetah skirt. She looked
Yep.
rad.
Yep.
I was like, oh
Agreed.
my gosh, she's awesome.
Yep.
It should have stopped there.
Yep.
I don't like that Diana's decision in the movie is lose the man I love
Mm-hmm.
or save humanity.
Mm-hmm.
It should be a no brainer for a hero,
Sure.
especially the woman that we met in the first Wonder Woman film.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like that her whole story hinged on a man
Mm-hmm.
or wanting a man.
Mm-hmm.
Same with Cheetah. She got her powers from Maxwell Lord. That's fine.
Well, she got
But
from the stone originally, though. She did get from the stone originally.
yeah, but her story was hinging so much on him as well and
Mm-hmm.
relying on him. And I was just like, I kind of feel like this doesn't match up
Mm-hmm.
with the first Wonder Woman. I feel like the women shouldn't be so needy.
I see. To me, and again, I'm a guy, so I'm not gonna
Yeah, me
talk like I
too.
know these things, but um, uh, it kind of made sense in that it's been like 80 years since she was with Steve, so I could see like the longing, like I've been selfless for 80 years, and
Right.
the and even though the opening scene, I was like, did we really need this? I guess it kind of shows how she sometimes wanted to cheat the rules, and this was her wanting to cheat the rules. But again, that was, I don't know, 200 years ago, so maybe she grew a little bit since then. But so that's
I
why
think they just wanted to have the actresses from the first one
exactly,
make a reappearance. I would have
100.
been fine. I would have been even. I think it would have been even better if you didn't have the opening. Have the opening at the mall. Your big fun, goofy '80s action movie. You're like,
I
boom, you
love
get
that.
right into the thicket.
That was Superman
Perfect.
2 for me. I thought that was great.
Yeah. And then any sort of lesson that you want her to learn, do it in flashbacks sprinkled throughout the film.
Mm-hmm.
Same with Maxwell Lord.
Mm-hmm.
It's the very end of the movie. Do we need to get his backstory that he pees the bed like in the last like 5 minutes? Like, is
Yeah.
that important now? Are we? Do we
Yeah.
need to know this information? No, we don't. I liked his sort of Tron in the MCP sort of giving out wishes through
Mm-hmm.
the thing and gaining more power and stuff. And I
Mm-hmm.
kind of like that. And I like that it didn't all come down to a big CG slugfest at the end.
Sure. Yep.
I'm fine. I think I'm okay with the ending. The speech was kind of long,
Yeah.
but it was like, okay, this is how this Wonder Woman is cool because she's like, she understands it's not his fault that he's corrupted by this stone,
Mm-hmm.
and she's using the lasso of truth and sort
Mm-hmm.
of kind of making things better without using her fists.
Yeah.
She spent the whole movie doing everything in her power to save everybody and making sure that no one got hurt.
Yeah.
Like even when Cheetah was throwing around
Mm-hmm.
the guys in
Yes.
the White
Yep.
House, and Wonder Woman was going and catching them.
Yep.
Another thing, Wonder Woman has always known how to fly. I'm just gonna send that out into the internet universe, because I keep saying, oh, what now? All of a sudden she flies. We saw her fly at the very end of the first one.
Mm-hmm.
She jumps off the Louvre and then heads right towards the camera. She's always flown.
Mm-hmm.
She can fly, so that's not a big deal.
Yeah.
And she
Yeah.
doesn't need, or I don't know, why was that jet at the museum fully fueled?
Yeah, I was just
And
like,
how did
you have to gas it up.
so? But I mean, that's fine. I'm okay with that. It's silly, but I'm like, okay, I know how museums work. I'm pretty sure it's not fully fueled.
Yeah, usually, like,
Usually those they're gutted.
right? What?
Usually they're gutted, right? They take
Exactly. They're kind of
yeah.
decommissioned and
Yeah.
static.
I guess maybe
But
in the 80s, but I doubt it.
yeah, I mean, to me, I thought it was cool because, like, oh, it's her invisible jet. That's neat. But it's just like the way they got to there was so weird. Like, it'd been neater if, because they introduced that dude that was this White House guy, is like leverage that guy for a favor to take the plane or something. I don't know. Like, there could be more
Right.
reasonable ways to do that.
Or go go to an active Air Force base.
Sure. But I don't know.
I
It's a
don't know.
shame because they had so long to do the movie.
Right, and they had a long time to sort of tweak it and make it better.
Yeah.
Also, like I feel like one of the biggest letdowns is I feel like the first Wonder Woman movie felt so effortless on the part
Hmm.
of Patty Jenkins. Like the story was
Yes.
tight and they just
Mhm.
like boom went through it. Like it was probably at the time the most Marvel DC movie ever. Like it was a super concise story, and
Mhm.
this one just kind of went everywhere. And I don't like. I just I think it's a mostly a disappointment because the first one was so good,
Agreed. Yep.
and there was no way this could be bad. And then as soon as you start hearing certain music or seeing certain things, you start thinking, "There's like, oh no, this isn't perfect."
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And
I
again,
mean,
they had all the time in the world to score, and this is what you put on there.
yeah, yeah.
It-
And he took music from Sunshine, the movie Sunshine.
oh, really?
Yeah, the Danny Boyle's movie Sunshine. There's a
Hmm.
piece of music in that movie that's very popular, and they use that music at the end when she's flying.
Oh, snap.
That's how you do the end of the movie is take someone else's music. It's nuts, dude. Like, come on, really?
Yeah, that blows my mind. Like again, I that to me, if I had to pick, because you're right, because it threw me out of it. The first, because it's the beginning of the thing. It's like, God, chill, man, chill, bro.
It's making me it made me want to backpedal on my Man of Steel love. I'm like, okay, I'm done.
Even
Oh, and by the way, I'm super anxious now for
oh,
No Time to Die.
I as
I am
that
so
the opening scene with the music and everything, and I was just like, oh my god, Ralph has got to be anxious about this Bond
and
score.
with all the delays on Bond, I'm like, you guys have so much time to fix this. Why aren't you getting David Arnold in there? Why aren't you getting literally anybody else in there? Why?
Um,
Not
Kathy
happening.
says she said it was a temp track and they kept it. What?
Yeah, I've heard
Um,
of stuff like that, but
pretty sure the Themyscira scene in Thousand Years She's Old. Is that the OG WW? Is that what you're talking about? I thought I really like that little end scene, cut scene, the reveal of who at Artisma or whatever,
yeah,
who had the gold armor. I thought that was really cool. I really
yeah.
dug. Um, let's see. Uh, JMT 14 says the last act really fell apart. I can forgive most of the earlier problems. Scotty also says even if the fully fueled jet fighters can maybe go 1,000 miles, not to Egypt. Well, they
Yeah.
took a little joyride around the fireworks and then they went to Egypt.
Yeah.
Which again, like that was cool, but I was like, isn't it dangerous to fly through fireworks? But it was a neat. It looked beautiful.
The way they made it sounded like it was also a barrier. So I don't think the fireworks
Oh,
would have
okay, okay.
like a force field. But I mean, that's the least of the problems. The invisible jet's cool to see.
Hmm.
It's too bad we didn't see them just hovering in midair, like
Ah,
Super Friends. But
yes.
I mean, you know, I wanted more, and
Yeah.
I just feel like I never like to kind of go in with high expectations for a movie,
Hmm.
but I expect something from this movie that I definitely didn't get. Like I just
Yeah.
felt like there was a bar that was set, and I'm
Hmm.
like, just if you hover around that bar, you're perfect. But
Yeah.
dipped, it
Hmm.
dipped.
Yep.
But I mean, that's okay.
Does it
What
make
are you
you
gonna
worry
do?
for the Patty Jenkins Rogue
No,
Squadron show?
no, not at all, not at all. But there
Um,
better not be a Hans Zimmer Star Wars score. That's for sure, dude. I own every Star Wars score. I have video game Star Wars scores. I have book Star Wars scores. I just got was it Dark Force Rising? No.
mhm.
Um no, shoot. I can't even think of the name now. Shadows of the Empire.
Mm-hmm.
They did a album based on the book in the
Mm-hmm.
'90s, and I just got that on vinyl. And he's gonna make me not own a Star Wars score if he does. There's no way. Can you imagine what that would sound like?
I never thought they would make him do a Bond score. It doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any
I'm
sense.
mad. I'm mad.
Um, James making the 4th of July to have fireworks was kind of lame. It was because it didn't really set anything up that's about the
No,
time it was. Like it was vaguely summer, I guess.
they like
And
flew. They flew in the jet and said, "Oh, it's 4th of July."
yeah,
They,
and they didn't set anything up to kind of get you there because you know, for July in DC is awful. You're not kind of sitting outside having drinks and stuff in DC in the summer. It's terrible.
oh, okay.
So I was thinking it was like springtime or something, and no, wait, it's 4th of July, and then Colin says, and then it's suddenly winter at the end of the movie.
You know, it's another awful day in Washington D.C. January 6th. Those suck.
Yeah, that was
All right.
terrible, terrible.
Um,
All right. Any final thoughts here on the Wonder Woman front? But I will say this is my final thoughts. I love the characters. I love Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman. Even though this film disappointed, it didn't meet the level of the first one. It didn't even kind of get into the 80% of the first one. I think that's maybe the bar you're talking about. Like, if it could have just like been 80% as good as the first one, I think we would have been happy. But it didn't even get there because there's so many like just nonsensical things that you would think somebody there in the production or creation be like, this doesn't make any sense. Why are we doing this? Or this is kind of hacky. Yeah, scarf on the 4th of July. Yeah, exactly. It's really hot in DC. But at the same, so my hope is, you know, they'll make more Wonder Woman movies. Again, I think Gal Gadot, I think you put her up there with the Michael Keatons and the Christopher Reeves, like the
right.
she is. I think she personifies that role very well.
Yeah.
We just hopefully she gets a better movie the next go round.
Yeah.
What's any
No
final
Steve.
thoughts for you?
No Steve in the third movie.
Yeah, I think it was because it's kind of sad too, just the way he had to say goodbye to him, and it almost hurt more than the first time he went to me.
Right.
And it kind of showed how it was hollow. Like it was nice she got to spend more time with him, but he's still gone. He's not alive.
Right.
JMT says, I was very mixed. I like parts, but not overall. I had very high expectations. Love the first one. Agreed. Crazy Hank TV says Gal Gadot has never made a bad movie.
Sweet. She did show up in the Fast and Furious franchise, like right at the right time.
She did? She's in there?
Yeah. She's in like 3 or 4 of them.
Really? I haven't kept up with that franchise. I apologize.
Dude, seriously, like I can tell you, like you can skip the first 4. They're okay.
I've seen the first 4. I've seen the first 4.
Dude,
the first 5 or 6.
If you get a chance, watch Fast 5. Fast 5 is the best one, and everybody knows it. Fast 5 is amazing, dude. You'd love Fast 5.
I think
I'm putting it out there.
Okay, we'll watch it again. Colleen loves those movies. Favorite part was the credit scene. Made me feel happy. Colleen said she loved it. The post-credit scene, the way they pay that off, it's so silly, but I thought it was so cool. It was a really nice nod to the TV series, the original Wonder Woman. That was awesome. That was really, really awesome. And then Old School says that made it all worthwhile, in my opinion. It's weird, but I kind of agree. Like I really love that payoff. It was a really, really cool payoff. And again, it's a shame that there was just so much. It was so all over the place in terms of quality that payoff, which was so cool, it takes it. But again, it doesn't take anything away for how cool it was. But it would have been even better if it was just a better movie.
Yeah.
But final thoughts for you on Wonder Woman? Meh.
Yeah, it's not my favorite.
And you're a pretty forgiving DC movie fan too,
right? And once again, I like to stay on the positive side of things. There's things in every DC movie that I like.
Hmm.
I really don't have a problem with any of them. I'm looking forward to Zack Snyder's Justice League. I don't care for the fans who are vocal about Zack Snyder,
Hmm.
but if I get to see more Ben Affleck, more Henry Cavill, more Gal Gadot,
Hmm.
sign me up.
Yep.
Sign me up.
I
So
agree.
I'm excited.
And
Um,
and it's kind of, I think that if I had to encapsulate the most is I feel like the DC movies have been on a trend of they've been better, and I think they've like Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Shazam, like they've been on a
Birds
trend
of
of
Prey. I thought Birds of Prey was great.
yeah, and
Gnarly. The movie's gnarly.
yeah, it's intense. Um,
Dude,
but
Mr. What's his name? Um, Mr. Chow. What's his Marvin Candle from
yeah,
Lost
yeah.
gets his face. He gets his face peeled off. So if you're into that,
um, but so I think that's because they've had a pretty good run. I feel like a turning
yeah.
point post Justice League where I think they've made pretty good films, and so that I think that kind of is like a little stumble here in the progression.
The Suicide Squad, James Gunn's Suicide Squad's coming up.
And
That's gonna be
all
dope.
I think so too. I hope so.
Yeah,
I hope so.
yeah.
All right. Well, that is a good place as any to close out this episode and to answer the question Soul versus Wonder Woman. I got to go Soul. I think Soul was the better movie. They both had flaws, but it was still in the pandemic. It was cool that they put them on streaming platforms for us to watch in the safety of our homes. Um, but yeah, and final thoughts here. Ralph, old school says Ralph keeps it positive even when he doesn't like a film. It's the toxic rhetoric that you see as a result of Woman 84 that I could do without. It gets old. Yeah, the I don't even engage with that anymore because
I
it's
don't. Yeah,
just not worth it.
it's never worth it.
JMT14 Love Birds of Prey need more that quality. Oh, and Joker. I thought Joker was good too. I like Joker.
I still haven't seen it.
Oh, you haven't seen Joker?
No, I
It's
haven't
good.
seen it.
It's not that much of a comic book movie, but it's still good. It's a good kind of it's a good
I'll probably
homage.
watch that.
It's a good homage to like Scorsese 70s
Yeah.
Scorsese films. But anyway, all right.
Okay.
That is it for this episode of Screen Geeks. Ralph, people can find you at Casino Skunk on Twitter, YouTube.com/Casino Skunk. Oh, look at that. Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern. Terrible figure by Mattel. They could have done so much better with that line, and they half-assed it. And so many more. Definitely check out Ralph there. And you're already watching this, so you know my stuff. All right, we'll see you all next time. Hasta luego, and goodbye.
Watch Fast 5. It's your homework.